Well, Casey, got good reviews from my neighbor Bill about you. Bill runs the what is it? The plant down there. Can't think of Bill's last name.
Plant.
The treatment plant.
Yeah, Bill Van Busker.
Yes, I should know because he's my tenant. You know? But yeah, he was saying you're doing great things.
Oh, well, thank you. Turning on the charm right as we start streaming. That's nice of you.
Well, he's turning on the charm. I gotta admit, I also did second that, you know, so I do believe you are doing a really good job.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you very much.
Okay, today is Monday, October the 18th, 2021 at 4 p.m. I call this meeting to order of the Yelm Planning Commission. Staff, have you taken a roll call?
I will take one now. Ann Warmond.
Here.
Jerry Fugic.
Here. Yeah.
John Thompson.
Here.
Carlos Perez.
Here.
Floyd Sheldon.
Floyd has COVID.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Oh, yes.
Well,
He and his daughter both have COVID.
oh my gosh.
Well,
Well,
maybe we could excuse him.
yes, hoping for a quick recovery.
Well, he could be on the TV here, but we don't have to have masks on that.
That's right. At least we got the 6-foot distance.
That's right.
All right, John Graver.
Here.
And then Bob Howard did call me a little bit ago. He will not be able to attend today. So we are
Okay.
all accounted for.
Okay, so now you'll join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the
to the
flag
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 of the United
of the
States
States of America,
and to the republic
To the republic
for
which
which it
is
stands,
stands one nation,
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 under God,
Under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice.
justice
for
for
all.
all.
roll.
Thank you. You got the agenda several days ago and have a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I motion that we approve the agenda as printed.
I will second it.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Also, you were provided a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as printed.
I will second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Fine.
Do we, Casey, do we have any public communications?
I did not receive any public communications, but I know our planning and building manager Landon is going to hop on and give an update. I think he's just still trying to get into the meeting. Just one.
Okay, we'll wait for that. See if he.
Okay, well, we will have to come back to Landon, I believe, at the end.
Okay,
So I think we can move to the next item.
okay, so the next item is do we have, everybody had a chance to review the transportation plan?
Yes.
Do we have any addition or corrections?
Yes.
Hearing none. You do
Oh,
have one?
sorry. We do.
Okay,
Trying to get people into the meeting, missing my part. Okay, not as long as last time, my PowerPoint today, but I do want to highlight a few things, some edits that we had talked about last time.
okay.
Okay, let's hop in. I was gonna go over the layout again, but we don't have any members of the public in right now, so I won't go too much in depth, but we have a quick background on what a transportation plan is, into the inventory of our own transportation system. The transportation improvement program is the bulk of the plan, and then we have funding and implementation, future policy considerations, and Appendix A gets us in compliance with WSDOT rules. So some minor changes we made. A good point was brought up last meeting about ATVs that I wanted to clarify. This has been added to our alternative modes of transportation section. Wheeled all-terrain vehicles are now allowed on all city streets with a speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less. There's specific requirements in terms of licensing, and I'm not exactly sure, maybe windshields, mirrors, but it is important to note that yes, you can drive your ATV around the city if you so desire.
Hey, Casey, I know if
Yes.
by any chance, is there any way to tag anything along with that? Like i.e. golf carts?
Interesting. So wasn't expecting that.
Well, I know, the reason I say this is because, you know, if we're looking for a diverse community, not just, you know, young people, but also, you know, possibly retirement people, you know, golf carts are a pretty handy thing to have when they don't only want to drive to the store and back.
Yeah. You know, so that is something that I don't think we need to clarify in the transportation plan, but the way ATVs were added to our allowed vehicles was through ordinance, just at a regular city council meeting. So I'll get with Chief Stansel and see if that's allowed, if it's not, and what we can do about that. So I will update you about that at a next meeting, but I would say for now, we can proceed with it excluded from the plan, if that's okay with you.
Sure,
You
Casey.
would, one comment on that, you'd have to have a golf cart that could travel at 35 miles an hour. If you had a golf cart that only did 15 and a 35, you'd be creating a hazard. So it'd have to at least meet those minimum speeds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of them out there that will.
I'm sure. Okay, another addition we've had to the plan is just some funding estimates. So just if you're a little savvy about the money, later in the plan, we have listed the different funding sources that we have for transportation projects. And I threw in some numbers in there of, in the last calendar year, this is how much was generated from this particular source, just so that it's a little easier to find that information. The next change that I made was clarifying which projects are WSDOT projects, meaning WSDOT is funding them and also managing them. They work with the city, but in general, they're the lead agency, and timing will be on their schedule. So we have a few of these. The biggest one is the loop, the north loop around the city. That's the one that currently ends at Cullens or Killian. It dead ends, and it'll eventually go all the way down to Walmart Boulevard.
Yeah,
And so that's, oh, sorry, Chris. Okay, so that's the one, it's denoted Y3, and then Y5G is that roundabout right at the end. So the roundabout that'll be right next to Walmart at that intersection. And the last WSDOT project is Y5D, and that's reconstructing Yelm Avenue from the Five Corners intersection to the Walmart roundabout. So just adding some street improvements, pedestrian facilities, and bringing everything up to current standards. Another change we had was that the past plan, the 2009 plan, and my first draft had a Coates Road extension that, if you can see these little red dashes on this image, the satellite image, We were planning to extend Coates Road. That would be between Cullens and Killian, and it would arc a little bit up. And at the time, that seemed the most feasible option. But what we now know is right where this blue line is on the image, there is this, I don't believe it technically classifies as a private street. I believe it might even just be considered a driveway at this point. But there is intention in the future for the city to obtain that, improve it to current standards, and then that would be the connection, rather than constructing a separate Coates Road extension. So that was one change that we made. Another one is the Boulevard Improvements. So if you will recall, one of the things that we talked about was adding planter islands into the center of the right-of-way in Yelm Avenue, and that would protect left turns, also add some beauty into our city, plant some more trees. After talking with the Public Works Department, it's probably not favorable for the city to ever do this on the majority of Yelm Avenue, as it's state-owned, and we could potentially get it from the state, but the maintenance costs alone would make that probably not a feasible option. And so now we're talking about only doing those boulevard improvements from Burnett to First. So just along that western half of the city. And then we added a couple new projects. One of them I found in the capital facilities plan, and that's the 103rd Avenue Southeast Bridge replacement. And then another new project that is a little interesting is the Washington Mckenzie one-way couplet. So Washington and Mckenzie are the two streets that the public safety building is on, and City Hall is on. And there is potential for these two streets to become a one-way, each in separate directions, and it would be a more pedestrian-friendly area in our central business district. And with City Park bordering that as well, it could become a really pedestrian-oriented atmosphere. So that was a new project that we've added on. And then the other thing that we spoke about was adding priorities to all of the projects. So rather than just having however many projects are in here, denoting them low, medium, high priorities based on whether it's reasonable to complete these soon, whether funding has been allocated, are these major safety concerns or improvements that we need sooner rather than later. So I've jotted some notes down here, but it's pretty self-explanatory. High priority projects are probably in the 6-year transportation improvement program. They address significant concerns and they may already be funded, all the way down to low projects, which are more long range, but not our immediate priorities. And then building on that, I classified the projects into each of these 3 categories. So I'm just going to briefly go through this. I already see a typo on my PowerPoint, but that's okay. So the street connections that fall into this low priority category are the Southwest Loop around the city. This is the one that goes through the Thurston Highlands. We also have the Southeast Loop and the connections that go with that. So that would be the Vansel to Morris Road connection and the Morris to Bald Hill connection. As for pedestrian improvements, we have our pedestrian bridge over Yelm Avenue that connects the trail. That's more of a lower priority. And then the activated alleyways in the central business district. Intersection improvements include West Road and 103rd. So this is the intersection, you're going down 103rd and you have West. It also has kind of that Goodwill donation area. This is an intersection that actually has pretty significant delays, but we may find a better solution. It's not one of our high priority projects. And then for street improvements, we have obtaining and improving that Coates Road extension. We also have improving Yelm Avenue 507 from 5 Corners to the Walmart Loop, and then our planter planter islands along Yelm Avenue. Medium priority, we have our northern mini loop, which is kind of our, not the big washout loop, but just the series of connected streets to get you off of Yelm Avenue. So we have the northern mini loop and then also the southern mini loop, which is 105th Avenue and the connections that go with it, including also the road that'll eventually go beneath Cochrane Park to connect all that. Pedestrian improvements, we have sidewalks in our central business district. This is an ongoing project that we have been working on and will continue to work on. We also have improvements on Cullen Street from Yelm Avenue to Van Trump Street, installing sidewalks, bringing that up to current city standards. Intersection improvements, we have Burnett and 93rd. So that's the one by the high school that is not aligned that we would like to align. We also have the Longmire and Yelm Avenue traffic signal. It's anticipated that the additional traffic from finishing Mossman will make that a very hefty intersection. And so that may be a priority. In addition, we also have the Crystal Springs and Coates Road roundabout. This is the one right next to Yelm Middle School. That is the Coates, Edwards, Crystal Springs kind of wonky three-way intersection. And then for street improvements, we have Solberg Street, reconstructing Bald Hill, replacing the little bridge that goes over 103rd, and the Washington Mckenzie couplet. And for our high priority projects, we have the North Loop around the city. This is a high priority project. We would all love it to be done very soon. The current estimate is 2025, but active design work is going into it currently. Pedestrian improvements, we have the Yelm Prairie Line Trail. We have 2nd Street improvements, so that'll be to have sidewalks going from the north entrance to Cochrane Park up to where the sidewalks currently are on Mossman, so that you can walk from the central business district and you don't have to walk in the road. Railway road improvements from 1st Street to Middle Road, again, kind of in our central business district, not actually the central business district, but this is a road that a lot of people do walk on. I've gotten a lot of feedback that kids walk along here, and sidewalks would be a big addition. Intersection improvements, we've got that first one is the Walmart roundabout, which is, again, active design work is going into that right now. We've got Mill Road and 507, an intersection realignment and creating more of a left turn lane to turn left onto 507. And street improvements, we have Yelm Avenue improvements in the central business district, improvements along NP Road, including sidewalks, bringing it up to city standards. The same with Roten, sidewalks, city standards, and a flooding study on Bald Hill Road. Yes, Carlos.
Could you elaborate on what those Yelm Avenue improvements are in the central business district?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, the improvements are, you know, let me just pull up the plan before I misspeak. That would be the best way. All right, can everyone see the minutes from the meeting? Okay, so let me fast forward to, where are we at? Okay, here we go. Construct, repair, and replace sidewalks, the parallel parking areas, intersection treatments, and access control channelization. So that would be turn lanes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions so far?
I have a question real quick, Casey, on the Yelm Prairie Line Trail and the SR 510 North Loop. Last time we talked about the connections between the trails, both the connections between the North Loop Trail and the Yelm Prairie Line Trail, and connection between the North Loop Trails and Longmire Park and such. Did you find out, are those included in the loop project? Or are those something that we need to address?
So those are addressed in our parks plan. So the way that projects get picked out is we have these longer range plans, the transportation plan and the parks plan. And then from there, we pick projects to go into each year's capital facilities plan and get funding. So I believe those projects are in the parks.
Are they in the parks section of the facilities plan? Because they were in the facilities plan before, but I'm
Yeah,
just curious as to where they are. They weren't.
I believe, yes, I did look this up after last month's meeting, and they're in the parks section of that plan. And then they're also in the separate long range parks plan that's updated every about 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
As
so
long as there's-
they'll get funding. They're just not
Mhm.
in the transportation plan.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. And Carlos, did you have another question or did you get?
No,
yours?
I did
Okay,
not.
great. All right, so that was it on changes. And then I did want to share just briefly how we got the word out that we are updating our transportation plan. The public feedback has not come in as much as I had hoped it would, but the meeting's not over. So we had the notice of the public hearing in Nisqually Valley News. We sent it out via email to anyone who signs up for development project notifications. We posted it on our city Facebook page, talked about it at a city council meeting, and then we also created this web page, which I just took a little screenshot of. This has been on our city website since late September, and it basically had a couple paragraphs. It was pretty short, just explaining what a transportation system plan is, what you should look out for, meaning the projects, and then we hyperlinked the plan and the map in there, along with where to direct comments. Unfortunately, I did not get any comments, but we tried. You know, with COVID, we had talked about doing more of a virtual open house, and I agree that I think that's the best way to do it. And so maybe we'll get some feedback in this meeting, but yeah. Okay, and my last slide for today is just our updated timeline. So today we'll do the public hearing and review the draft. If the commission sends the plan forward, the next step will be to notify Commerce of our proposed changes, and I will submit the environmental determination, basically just stating that this project of updating the plan won't have adverse environmental effects. And then potentially in December, we will present the draft to City Council and at a study session first, just to get feedback, and hopefully it'll be ready for adoption in January. So that is our preliminary plan. And I believe Landon and Sarah jumped on this meeting. Landon, I know you have some updates on code updates, which we could do at the end of the meeting, or if you wanted to give anything now.
Casey, do we have anything else on the agenda before we adjourn?
All we have left is the public hearing, which we have no members of the public signed in right now. And then we also just do our subcommittee updates.
Okay, gotcha. Let's just take care of the public hearing right now, and then I can do my item real quick before subcommittee updates.
Great.
I believe we will, if we don't have anybody in it, basically we go through the steps. But we have a public hearing. This is the public hearing is now open on Monday, October the 18th at 4:24 p.m. on Zoom. The purpose of this meeting tonight is to review the transportation plan, system plan for the city of Yelm. Casey, do we have any staff report for us at this city public hearing?
No, I do not.
Do any of the commissioners have a question for staff?
No.
No,
Okay. Okay. Is there any public testimony? Appears there is not. Any other additional staff comments regarding this matter?
I do not have any.
Okay, if there are no further questions, I close this hearing at 4:25 p.m. on October the 18th, 2021. So now we will go back to the regular meeting, and we will now have staff reports. There you go.
Thank you, Mr.
Andrew.
Chair. Appreciate it. Mr. Chair, members of Planning Commission, good to be with you today. I just wanted to report to you on one item, which may be not great news, but some of you may have watched the City Council meeting last week. We took the code updates, the 2021 code update package the Planning Commission had reviewed and recommended on. We took that to City Council, and it was actually rejected at Council because of the fencing issue in particular. There seems to be a strong groundswell of support on Council among a majority of the members for chain link fences to be allowed anywhere in the city. So with Planning Commission's approval, staff's plan is to simply place the package minus the fencing item on the agenda for the first City Council meeting in November, which would be November 9th. And then the fencing we would bring back to the Planning Commission meeting next month, and then hopefully be able to take that to a City Council study session in December. So I'm happy to answer any additional questions on that. Commissioners, do you have any comments about our course of action, or comments about how it all went down last Tuesday?
I think the course of action is good. I think it's a good approach.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, we are trying to move this through in an expeditious manner, as we would like to make some of the changes that were recommended by Planning Commission. So that is all I have about that. We're grateful for your input and for the hard work that you do. Sometimes, there's strong opinions on council that might differ from our own, and it's part of our political system that we work with people who have different opinions than we do, and try to make a city out of it, try to bring something good. So again, yes.
Could you tell me a little bit more? What are the objections again? I didn't quite pick up on that.
Sure. So the objections were to the fencing item in particular, that basically the council wants no restrictions on chain link fencing anywhere in the city.
Oh.
Whereas some restrictions still would have been placed on that type of fencing. So what we are considering is potentially proposing that we allow it most places in the city, in most zones, but not in the central business district of the city, and potentially not even along Yelm Avenue. So that would hopefully satisfy the desire of council to allow property rights and make sure that we're not infringing on those, while still hopefully presenting our best face to those who will visit Yelm along Yelm Avenue. Because chain link fencing, in staff's opinion, is not real attractive, not the best look that we could give, but we also want to be sensitive to our council. So trying to find a good middle ground there. So does that make sense, Commissioner?
Yes, and I don't think it was our intention to disallow throughout the city. And more probably my thoughts were along Yelm Avenue
Okay,
and not necessarily out in the boonies.
yeah,
or
sure,
even
sure.
2 or 3 streets over, you know.
Yeah.
But okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And we'll go back to city council with that in mind. We'll run the revised code past the planning commission first next month, just to make sure that it meets with your approval and that you feel comfortable giving it a recommendation. So we'll plan on having that next month, and look forward to taking that to city council in December. Any other questions or comments about that?
No.
Okay. Very good, Mr. Chair. That's all for me. And so I think we can move on to the subcommittee reports.
Okay, Ann, do you have anything on the parks?
The parks, the main thing is that the design for the dog park over by the water reclamation facility is moving forward. The phase 1, of course, is the grading and getting that new road put in so that that road is used for the I guess you'd say the rebuild of the reclamation facility. And yet the entire process is being done through St. Martin's. There's a senior class that are doing the design work. And so we're utilizing students in the area to be able to come up with all of the specifics that are needed for the next phase. That is the amenities and the fencing and other things that need to be there for the dog park. And the same is being done in terms of some of the design work on the main park in terms of some additional work proposed there.
Any more word on the trail?
Just that we have there's the young fellow, I'm not going to get his name right, works over in Public Works, that is in charge of working with the consulting firm that's doing the design. And they're doing design and development and planning for the actual the stage of the trail that goes to the river. And then we also know that the city's looking for funding for the rest of it to go across the river and to Roy.
How big is that dog park, Ann?
I believe what we have so far, we proposed $1.5 million or $1.4 million for the initial scope, which was all the way extending the trail across the Nisqually River, which meant working on the bridge as well. And we got about half of that. So that helps us get to the river. But I don't have costs for what it would take to go across the river all the way to Roy. There's the Evergreen Bicycle Club is one of the main proponents, the main folks that are really supporting that in Pierce County. So at least we have some folks that are really, really pushing for it over there.
And I believe Carlos wanted to know how big is the dog park?
Yeah.
An area.
How big is it?
But that was a good explanation about the money.
Yeah.
That's good too.
Yeah, how big? Oh, how big is the dog park? I don't know how big the dog park is. I don't know how many acres it is.
I think it's 2.
Is it 2 acres, you think, John?
2.
Yeah, it's not extremely large, but it's better than we've had ever before to be able to have people get the dogs out. And there will be a parking lot. There will be other amenities in terms of water and restrooms. And so I haven't seen the actual designs, but I know that that's the next phase after the grading is done and putting in the roads.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions to Ann?
There's-
John, go ahead.
I had a quick comment. The parcel for the dog park is just over 4 acres. So we'll subtract a little bit out for the road. But I would expect it'll probably be over 3 acres.
So did they take both parcels for that? Because there was two 2-acre parcels, so they buy
Hmm,
both?
I believe it's just one
think-
4-acre parcel.
Okay.
And did you have something? Okay.
No, I just know the way that the shape of it. I don't know the actual dimensions. I just know the shape of it.
Okay.
The road going
Any-
in and the parking lot and such.
Any update on Cochran Park?
On Cochran Park, there's new restrooms. They're just waiting for the power to be turned on. And that
Okay.
was a good week ago. And power was due to be turned on any day. So there's been quite a bit of work done out there on the ponds, but the new restrooms are in. So that's a big addition. And sidewalks.
Thank you. John, do you have anything on trees?
Well, since Chris can't seem to wrangle us
John
up,
Graver.
it's we've only got 2 members, and I know Chris has got many other things to do, and we just really haven't gotten around to doing anything. But I think I've finally got another member who hopefully will join. So maybe with 3 members, we'll actually be able to have a meeting, and have a discussion of some sort.
Okay, thank you. Any other subcommittee reports? Hearing none. Looks like I would be having a motion to adjourn, but before we do anything, I'd like to thank all the hard work that Casey has done for this. And thank you, Landon, for the excellent report you gave us on the fencing in that. And Chris, I see your face on there. Would you have anything you'd like to say?
I was just gonna play off of what John was saying and say that I'm trying to put together a tree advisory board meeting for next month. Looks like somebody took out a tree over on Yelm, just past Rice. So we have a couple of trees that need to be replaced. Not the time of year to replace them, unfortunately. So there's definitely work to be done there, and I'll be in touch with you, John. We'll get a meeting together. We have more members. We have lots of applications, and we're going through that. So I'm working with
Good.
Kathy Lindenmeyer. So I'm hoping we can get all of our committees full, in full attendance, and we could really start making things happen.
Sounds great, Chris. Thank you.
You bet.
I just have
Seeing
one
no-
last.
Yes. go for
One
it.
last item. I forgot this the last time we did a big update too, but Grant caught me. We do need to have a motion to send the transportation plan on to council.
I would entertain that motion.
I
I would
motion,
move that we go ahead, Ann.
go ahead, John.
You can second it then. I would move that we send the transportation plan to council.
And I second.
Okay. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, here, opposed. Hearing none. Please send the transportation plan forward to council for their action. Now, if I have nothing else to hear, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you all for being here. Thank you for the staff of the city for all your hard work, and we'll see you next month. Be safe, want to be healthy, because we just lost General Colin Powell to coronavirus.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
So,
And
lost a
leukemia,
great
Oh, he had leukemia too?
Yeah.
cancer, yeah,
man. Yeah, so,
a double whammy.
okay. We'll
All
see you.
righty. Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
all very much.